Welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you a tribute for the 9/11 attacks, news about the cleanup of Mr. Howard's property in Ridgecrest Heights, news from the Sheriff's Department, gas prices, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Thanks for joining us for the news. I'm Tom Whitnick. Here's news affecting Ridgecrest in the Indian Wells Valley. Today is the 14th anniversary of the attacks on 9/11. Do you remember where you were when the attacks happened? I do. I was on my way to work on the base. As I pulled up to enter the base, I discovered the gates were locked down and told to go home and wait for further instructions. That there had been airplane attacks back east. So I went home and turned on the TV to find out what was going on. The attacks involved two airplanes being flown into the two World Trade Center towers in New York, the Pentagon in Washington, and the crashing of a plane in the fields of Pennsylvania, 14 years ago today. The plane crash in the fields of Pennsylvania was a heroic effort by the passengers on the plane, overpowering the terrorists that had already hijacked the plane and were attempting to return the plane to crash somewhere in Washington. Some of the passengers on the plane had been in contact with family on the ground and were told about the series of attacks that had already occurred in New York and Washington. Upon hearing that, the passengers united against the terrorists and attempted to take back control of the plane. During the struggle, the plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. Those people were heroes. As a result of the attack by the terrorists, the phrase came out loud and strong, "We will not forget." All of us at KZGN-TV and Guns for Us will not forget either. And don't forget the special candlelight tribute to be held this evening at Freedom Park by City Hall. At approximately 7:30 p.m., the Exchange Club of Ridgecrest will hold a special remembrance vigil for the 9/11 attacks. You can also take in a visit to the Remember the Fallen wall in Kerr-McGee Center. Join us at Freedom Park tonight. Well, in news from the code enforcement case against Dale Howard out in Ridgecrest Heights, we get this update. Last Tuesday, the teardown of the burnout residential building on Mr. Howard's property began. First, a company came out and removed all the asbestos material from the home. That took 2 days. They finished that on Wednesday. Then yesterday, the actual building was torn down and completely removed. I stopped by and talked to Mr. Howard on Tuesday, and he was not very happy about the process. He complained that there was no asbestos in the home, even though the conservator said that he had asbestos testing done and the building tested positive for asbestos. Mr. Howard said he had it tested and there was no asbestos. He also said he never had a chance to see the results of the test done by the conservator. However, the conservator went ahead with the asbestos removal according to EPA requirements in handling hazardous materials. Everything taken out had to be wrapped up and disposed of in a controlled manner. It had to have been very expensive for that part of the teardown. Well, here's pictures of how the property looks now after the teardown and cleanup. A lot of progress has been made on the cleanup. The total cleanup involved 11 lots. It also included the removal of 100 various peacocks and other farm animals. Anyway, in looking over the area now, it looks like a large amount of the stuff has been removed. While it's not done yet, progress has been made. It should be noted that the conservator did let Mr. Howard remove a lot of the stuff himself. By doing the cleanup himself, he did save considerable money, because at the end of this, the city will be presenting him with a bill for their expenses for the case. That could be in the amount of 6 figures when attorney's fees are included. Now stay with us for news about the Kern County Sheriff's Office work on auto thefts in Kern County. Now we get this rather amazing news from the Kern County Sheriff's Department. They conducted a theft operation in the Kern River Valley and got 14 arrests. In the Kern County Sheriff's Office's efforts in data-driven policing, the deputies in the Kern Valley substation noticed an increase in auto theft crimes over the past 3 months. There were 13 auto theft crimes during the month of August, compared to 8 in July and 4 in June. On September 10th, the deputies at the Kern Valley substation conducted a joint operation with the California Highway Patrol's Kern County Auto Theft Task Force, the Bakersfield Police Department, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, the United States Marshal Service, and deputies assigned to the Sheriff's Office Gang Suppression Section, Wasco Substation, and Lamont Substation to combat the auto theft problem. During the operation, a total of 35 officers went to 33 locations in the communities of Lake Isabel, Bodfish, Weldon, Onyx, Wolford Heights, and Kernville. The locations were visited for the purpose of serving arrest warrants or conducting compliance checks for subjects on probation, state parole, or county parole. A stolen Chevrolet pickup was taken during the night of September 7th, was recovered. It was in the early stages of being disassembled in the 2800 block of Scovern Street in Lake Isabel. 14 persons were arrested for various charges. Here's the list. Seth Sellers, 42, for an arrest warrant charging him with domestic battery and violation of domestic violence restraining order, and another arrest warrant charging him with violation of a domestic violence restraining order and battery on a peace officer or emergency personnel. Matthew Stonebreaker, 30, for open charges of possession of narcotics in a stolen vehicle, and 4 arrest warrants charging him with petty theft and failing to appear, possession of narcotics paraphernalia, DUI, and being under the influence of narcotics. Matthew Surratt, 38 years old, for a violation of state parole. Patricia Knott, 53 years old, for an arrest warrant charging her with tampering with utilities and authorized use of utilities. David Coffey, 36, for 4 arrest warrants charging him with possession of narcotics paraphernalia and possession of narcotics, driving on a suspended license. Heather Mallory, 23, for open charges of possession of narcotics for sale, transportation of narcotics, and possession of narcotics, and an arrest warrant for possession of narcotics for sale. Michelle Sierra, 48 years old, for an arrest warrant charging her with burglary, petty theft, and failing to appear in court. Justin Smith, 26, for open charges of possession of narcotics for sale, transportation of narcotics, and possession of narcotics. Daniel Kirby, 26 years old, for an arrest warrant charging him with driving on a suspended license and failing to appear. Curtis Kirby, 26, for an open charge of possession of narcotics. James McNeil, 27, for open charges of possession of narcotics, possession of narcotics paraphernalia, and being under the influence of narcotics. Matt Posney, 23 years old, for an arrest warrant charging him with possession of narcotics. Richard Potter, 51 years old, for a violation of state parole. And finally, Jimmy Newman, 51 years old, for possession of narcotics paraphernalia. Heather Mallory is a resident of Bakersfield. All the remaining subjects who were arrested are residents of the communities in the Kern River Valley. Anyone with information on auto theft or other criminal activity in the Kern River Valley is urged to contact the Kern County Sheriff's Office, Kern Valley Substation at 760-549-2100 or any other sheriff's office. Now in KZGN's continuous effort to provide news and information you've asked for, here are today's gas prices for Ridgecrest and some surrounding areas. Well, since my last report on Wednesday, gas prices continue a slow decrease. Ridgecrest lowest price fell to another 2 cents since Wednesday. As of this morning, Ridgecrest is ranging from $3.13 to $3.49, Lancaster from $3.15 to $3.69, the LA Valley area $3.15 to $3.37, and the Bishop area $3.69 to $3.85. We have 2 stations coming in at the $3.13 figure and 3 stations at the $3.15 amount. Tune in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for updates. We at KZGN always suggest you shop locally to support our local economy. Remember, when you pay any sales tax out of town, you are helping those cities pave their streets instead of here. Stay with us for weather and sports when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service. A cold front moving across the eastern U.S. will help produce showers and thunderstorms across parts of the northeast, while a second front farther to the west will bring showers and thunderstorms across the Appalachians and southern Great Lakes. Showers and thunderstorms are also possible across parts of the Gulf Coast. Temperatures across the nation. Carolinas came in at 82, Georgia 83, Arkansas 86, northern Texas 82, Utah 81, and Los Angeles at 83. For us here in the IWV, here's the weather for the Candlelight Vigil tonight. 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms, partly cloudy with a low around 75, east wind 10 miles per hour. On Saturday, a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly sunny with a high near 104, west-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Saturday night, 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms, partly cloudy with a low around 75, west wind 10 miles per hour. On Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 99, calm wind south around 5 miles per hour. Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low around 72, southwest wind 10 miles per hour. On Monday, sunny with a high near 97, southwest wind 10 miles per hour. Monday night, mostly clear with a low around 70, west-southwest wind 20 miles per hour. Tuesday, sunny with a high near 94, breezy southwest wind 20 miles per hour. Tuesday night, mostly clear with a low around 66, breezy south-southwest wind 25 miles per hour. And on Wednesday, sunny with a high near 93, south-southeast 5 miles per hour. And for our records highs and lows, on this day, set in 1993, temperature was at 108 degrees. The low was set in 1985 at 45 degrees. And that is your local forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom and the rest of the KZGN News.
Thanks, Keith. Now Tom Heck with sports.
And a very pleasant Friday afternoon to everyone. Let's start local high school sports. It'll be Burroughs and Garces tonight from Burroughs. Now that game has been switched to 7:30 due to excessive heat. So Garces is a central section team, and in the central section they have a rule that anything over 100 degrees they cannot play. So they have to wait to make sure that the temperature is under 100 degrees, and by 7:30 it should be that. Now, the 5:30 JV game may have to wait until temperatures drop below 100, but they hope to at least get a half of a game in, if not more than that. All right, Trona tonight, they're over at Lucerne Valley, and Emmanuel Christian is over at Mojave 8-man football. Trona's off to a very good 2-0 start. Okay, opening NFL game last night. New England 28, Pittsburgh 21. Tom Brady, 2 touchdowns, 230 yards in the air. Had a very good night. The fourth quarter played in the rain. It rained hard before the game, but only light rain during the game. That was a major concern yesterday in Foxborough. All right, number 8 USC will be hosting Idaho. Should be an easy win for the Trojans. Major League Baseball, 3 weeks left, winding down. Here it is. St. Louis last night lost to Cincinnati 11-0. St. Louis, the best record in all of baseball. The Mets beat Atlanta. Atlanta now 31 games. 31 under 500. Boy, who would have thought that? Cleveland over Detroit. They keep their wild card hopes alive. Kind of, but they're mathematically still alive. Terry Francona, the skipper of Cleveland, doing a very good job there. And Milwaukee beats Pittsburgh, so the Pirates cannot gain any ground on St. Louis, still 5.5 back. They do have the number 1 wild card spot, though. But boy, the wild card is a one-game just do or die. You'd like to at least get in the series rather than have to play the wild card. Okay, Seattle beat Texas, so Texas had a chance to gain ground. They can't either. In fact, the Rangers lose 2 of 3 in Seattle. And then in a meaningless game, Colorado beats San Diego. So here's how it looks. Toronto and the Yankees in the East. Toronto a game and a half over the Yankees. And wouldn't you know it, those two teams play tonight in New York, a 3-game series. Kansas City has wrapped up the Central. Minnesota 12 back, but the Twins have a chance at the wild card. They're right behind Texas, 1 game out. And then the Astros, 2.5 games over the Rangers, and then 5.5 over the Angels. Now, in the National League East, the New York Mets have a comfortable 7.5 game lead over Washington. St. Louis, 5.5 over Pittsburgh, and the Dodgers comfortably 8.5 over San Francisco. Okay, this weekend, meaningful baseball games. The Angels tonight will host Houston. Crucial 3-game series against the Astros. Then will be the Dodgers down in San Diego. The Dodgers pretty much with a couple of wins and a couple of giant losses can wrap things up. The Giants have completely fallen apart. And then the A's take on the Texas Rangers. Though that game is in Arlington. So still a lot of teams in the hunt for a playoff spot. Should be a fun last 3 weeks. Don't forget the Burroughs game tonight at 7:30. Not 7 o'clock. Saracoso volleyball on the road. They're in San Diego today and tomorrow. That's your sports for this Friday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of the KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV. Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. And stay with us for Ridgecrest Talk coming up next.